Hello everyone, this is Granny's GodPod number 94. Who was this man called Herod? Herod the Great was a Roman half-Jewish client king of the Herodian kingdom of Judea. Josephus tells us a lot about him, but we know him from Matthew 2 verse 16 as the Herod who killed the infants in Bethlehem. Herod Antipas killed John the Baptist and was ruling at Jesus' death. Herod Agrippa I killed the Apostle James. And Herod Agrippa II heard Paul's appeal, recorded in the book of Acts. When Herod the Great was visited by the Magi looking for a newborn king of the Jews, he naturally saw this as a threat, because he had been crowned King of the Jews. When he realised the Magi had not returned with the whereabouts of this baby, he became very enraged and ordered the death of all the male children who were in Bethlehem and its vicinity from 2 years old and under. In the 14th century AD, the French painter Boccaccio numbered 144,000 infants in his illuminated manuscript, The Massacre of the Innocents. I wonder if this number was connected to the 144,000 in the Revelation, because Bethlehem was not a large place at that time, and such a huge number would surely have made headlines. Jesus escaped when Joseph was told to flee to Egypt with the child and his mother. This Herod was born about 73 BC in Edom, southern Canaan, to Antipater, a man of great influence and wealth, which he increased by marrying the Arab princess Cypros from Nabatea. In about 135 BC, the Jewish ruler Hyrcanus had conquered the Idumeans and forced their conversion to Judaism. So although Herod was of Arab origin, he was a practicing Jew, politically Roman and culturally Greek, Greek being his first language. In 47 BC, Julius Caesar appointed Herod's father Antipater procurator of Judea, granting him Roman citizenship that descended to Herod and his children. In that same year, Antipater appointed Herod governor of Galilee at the ripe old age of 15. And 6 years later, Mark Antony made him tetrarch of Galilee. In 40 BC, civil war broke out when the Parthians invaded Canaan, and Herod had to flee to Rome. There, the Senate made him king of Judea and gave him an army. He personally led his army in the field of battle for 10 different wars. In 37 BC, Herod became the unchallenged ruler of Judea, a position he held for 32 years. Josephus tells us Herod divorced and sent away his first wife and child, that was to Doris, to marry Mariamne, a Hasmonean princess from a priestly family of Jewish leaders. Herod had 8 other wives and 14 children by 6 of them. Herod supported Antony during the conflict between him and Octavian, Caesar's heirs, despite Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, using her influence with Antony to gain much of Herod's best land. Antony was defeated at Actium in 31 BC, but Octavian saw that Herod was the man to rule Canaan as Roman Rome wanted it ruled, and restored to him the land Cleopatra had taken. Herod became a close friend of Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, hence using Agrippa in his children's names. He gave him oversight of the Cyprus copper mines with a half share in the profits, together with increasing his territory to include what is now Jordan to the east of the river and southern Lebanon and Syria. If not for Herod's mental and physical deterioration, he would also have received the Nabatean kingdom. When he saw his sons as political rivals, he had two of his favourites strangled at a Sumerian fort. Herod is known as a great builder, including the port of Caesarea Maritima, the palace at Herodium, and the fortress of Masada, as well as totally rebuilding the temple with the fortress of Antonia in Jerusalem. His reign at Jerusalem was notable for the promotion of commerce, the influx of strangers, and the increased diffusion of languages. Place names show this, as Tarsus was called Juliopolis from Julius Caesar, and Soli Pompiopolis, a port city in Cilicia. Samaria was called Sebaste, after the Greek name of Augustus, and the new metropolis was called Caesarea in honour of the Latin emperor, while Antipatris, on the road between Jerusalem and Caesarea, commemorated the name of Herod's Idumean father. The paranoid, dark and cruel streak in Herod's character increased with age, not helped by intrigue in his own family. His sister Salome poisoned his mind so much that he had his once beloved wife Mariamne killed, also her two sons, her brother, her grandfather and her mother. We would say that Herod lost it after Mariamne's death. One story was that he would wander through the palace calling her name and beat servants when they couldn't find her. Another that he kept her body preserved in honey for several years. His last years were concerned with repressing a revolt, quarrelling with his Nabatean neighbours, and losing the favour of Augustus. Having altered his will 3 times, he disinherited and killed his firstborn son Antipater. So we can see that killing the infants in Bethlehem is quite consistent with his behaviour of killing anyone he saw as a threat. As well as paranoia, Herod suffered from various health problems. He was prevented from committing suicide, only to die a few days later at the age of 69 in Jericho. Only Herod the Great was king. Augustus appointed his sons as tetrarchs. Herod was described as good-looking and powerfully built, brilliant and brutal. It was said of him that he stole the throne like a fox, ruled like a tiger, and died like a dog. Despite all his fears of being deposed, he didn't live long enough to meet the true King of the Jews, our Messiah. Much more could be said of this man. I've given you a taster here. I wonder if his sons followed with his brutal outlook on life. See you in the next one.